Welcome to another week of Flag Football Fridays. This is week 6, where we're trying to teach you the basics of flag football. My name is Matt Holmquist, and I am the coordinator for sport programs here at the University of Texas at Arlington. Let's take a quick review of weeks 1 through 5. Again, if this is your first video to tune into, I would strongly advise going back and viewing the other weeks. There are some vocabulary terms and some other concepts that we have already covered that will be used in this video that you might not be caught up on if you haven't watched the other videos. In week 1, we talked about lines to gain, what happens when you don't reach that line to gain, which is a turnover. That concept will be brought into play pretty strongly this week. What the offense can and can't do as far as passing, running, also talking about what the defense can and can't do. In week 3, we talked about timing, how we have 4 quarters, when the clock stops, what happens when the possession changes, etc. In week 4, we covered what a foul is, what penalties for those fouls are, and what kind of down situations we have after we enforce a penalty for each foul. And then in week 5, we covered co-rec rules. So we're going to review those a little bit more in depth. First, co-rec rules are different from regular 7-on-7 rules in that female touchdowns are worth 9 points. Remember, the female must be the one to throw a forward pass or be the one to score. If a female throws a forward pass in a down, and anyone on that team scores in the same down, it's 9 points. So it doesn't matter if there's laterals, backwards passes, anything of the sort. If a female throws a forward pass and anyone else scores, it's 9 points. Same thing if the female is the one to actually run the ball into the end zone. Secondly, you can't have 2 consecutive male-to-male completions. Remember, there are 3 things to open a play. You must have a forward pass, the play must cross the line of scrimmage, and it must involve a female. The male cannot also advance across the line of scrimmage unless there's a forward pass that has been thrown. If these are confusing to you at this point, please go back and review week 5. Here in week 6, we want to talk about scrimmage kicks, also known as punts. I will be referring to punts, kicks, and scrimmage kicks interchangeably throughout this video. Remember from week 1, the teams have 4 downs to reach a line to gain. If they fail to reach that line to gain on 4th down, the opposing team gets the ball at the succeeding spot. The succeeding spot is where the previous play ends, or if it's an incomplete pass, the previous line of scrimmage. Now, this is pretty dangerous. If your succeeding spot is very close to your own goal line, then you've given the opposing team great field position. Teams don't like to give up field position, so instead of risking this field position change, teams can punt the ball. Here is an example of what might happen on a turnover on downs. The blue team has possession of the ball, and the line to gain is the 40. The snap happens, like on every play, and the quarterback throws the ball way too far for their wide receiver to get to it. The pass falls incomplete. Now, remember that the opposing team gets the ball at the succeeding spot if a team fails to reach the line to gain on 4th down. The succeeding spot on an incomplete pass is the original line of scrimmage. So the ball is returned to that original line of scrimmage, and the defensive side of the neutral zone changes. The green team comes up, they're on offense, and their line to gain is now the 20. Remember, this is a new possession, and on every new possession, we start on 1st down. So the green team has the ball, 1st down, line to gain is the 20. Here's an alternate scenario. It's 4th down for the blue team, and they still have to reach the 40. Rather than risking giving the green team such awesome field position, the blue team is going to punt the ball away to the green team. They're going to snap the ball, and the person who's behind the snapper, the quarterback normally, but in this case is the kicker, will punt the ball through the air. The receiving team can now take the ball and run with it. Let's say in this play that a blue team player comes down and pulls the flag of this green team player. Now the green team will start their possession from, let's say, the 15-yard line. Our cones change, so the green team has a new line of scrimmage, and the green team maintains possession. Their new line to gain is the 20, and they're going to start out on 1st down. Here are some other details about punts. The procedure for a punt is that at the beginning of the 4th down, the referee will ask the team if they'd like to play or go for it, or if they'd like to punt. If the team says they will punt, the referee then announces the decision. Once a punt has been announced, a team cannot fake or change their minds. So if a team decides to punt, they cannot then run the ball and try to reach the line to gain, and they can't say, never mind, we're going to go for it. Once they've said they're going to punt, they must punt. In flag football, when a team elects to punt, they get the opportunity to kick the ball without fear of the defense coming to pull their flags. For this reason, the defense cannot rush like they would on a normal scrimmage play. They have to wait until the ball is kicked to cross the line of scrimmage. The offense also cannot cross the line of scrimmage until the ball is kicked. Once the ball is snapped and kicked, both teams can run anywhere they would like. The defense, or we call them the receiving team, can then return the punt, like we saw in the previous play, until their flags are pulled. Once the flags are pulled, or that runner runs out of bounds, is where that team will begin their next series of downs. The line that they must reach will simply be the next line to gain. Let's look at a basic punt scenario one more time now that we know these additional facts. We have a snap, and notice, the defense cannot rush the offense, and the offense is still not crossing the line of scrimmage until the ball is kicked. It is kicked, and the green team catches the ball and runs a few yards. The blue player comes down and pulls the green player's flag. We move our line of scrimmage to where the green team has possession, and the green team's line to gain is the 20-yard line, and they will start on first down. Some rules specific to punts include that the kicking team must allow the receiving team an opportunity to catch or recover the kicked ball. The kicking team cannot touch or recover the ball at all. If they do, the receiving team can get the ball wherever the kicking team touches it. A kick that bounces on the ground before being recovered may be advanced by the receiving team. Just because the punt falls on the ground doesn't mean that the receiving team can't advance it. A kick that is muffed, however, and a muff is an unsuccessful attempt to catch the ball cleanly and then hits the ground, becomes dead at that spot. If the receiver's waiting for the punt to come down, they muff the ball and it hits the ground, the play is dead, and the receiving team will have possession wherever the ball hits the ground. There is no fair catch. If you are familiar with the fair catch rule in American football, this does not apply in flag football. Any signal by the receiving team must be ignored. Now let's look at some punt situations. A kick that crosses the goal line is a touchback. It doesn't matter if it's muffed or not, it's still a kick. A touchback is where we put the ball at the X or the 14 for the new possession. A kick that goes out of bounds is spotted where it crosses the sideline. We'll look at examples of both of these. Finally, a kick that is touched by the kicking team, remember that the kicking team may not touch or recover the ball, or that simply comes to rest into play, is put into play at that spot. Here's our example of a touchback. The kicker takes the snap and kicks the ball. We see that that kick makes it into the end zone, crosses the goal line. This is now a touchback. A touchback is spotted at the 14-yard line. So we're going to bring the ball back out to the X, and the green team will now maintain possession at the 14. It will be first down, and the line to gain will be the 20. On a punt that goes out of bounds, the succeeding spot will be where the ball crosses the sideline, even if the punt crosses the sideline in the air. This kicker will kick the ball straight out of bounds. Did you see where the ball crosses the sideline? It looks like the ball ends up about the 13-yard line. However, the trajectory of the ball shows us that it crossed the sideline about the 25. Officials have mechanics that allow them to see this and execute it correctly. We will place the next line of scrimmage at the 25, bring the cones back, and award possession to the green team. Their line to gain will be the 40, and it will be first down.